Chuck Todd joins me. He's the host of Meet the Press, senior political director of NBC News. Chuck, what's going on in Iowa and New Hampshire?
I kind of like the monkeys metaphor. They're sort of happy-go-lucky kids. That,
Yep.
They're going to shade, and you're like, oh, look, and you don't take them seriously at first, and then you sit there and say, well, how about that? That tune's kind of catchy, and they're better than you think they are, and all that stuff.
They were put together by accident. No one took them seriously, and they had a huge hit. A huge hit.
No, it's true. And it is one of those things you're like, the monkeys are definitely better remembered than they should have been.
And they're fun. And Pete Buttigieg tries to be fun. Yeah. So Bernie is at Bernie's latest poll, according, we got two out this morning, 25% in the Boston Globe poll, Buttigieg 19, Biden 12, Warren 11. In the Emerson WHDH poll, Sanders 31, Buttigieg 21, Warren 12, Biden 12, Klobuchar 11. What do those numbers tell you, if anything?
Well, it tells you that you're starting to see New Hampshire act like it has in traditional past. It is hearing a little bit from Iowa, and you are seeing that the new guy, the new moderate, is getting a little look-see. This idea that Iowa doesn't pay attention to, or New Hampshire never pays attention to Iowa, is just simply not true. But the biggest thing I've taken away that I think hasn't gotten enough attention in Iowa is that Sanders had a harder ceiling than I thought he had. I mean, if you would have told me the entrance poll would have shown that more people supported Clinton from the 16 caucuses than Sanders from the 16 caucuses, I'd have said, well, wow, there's no way Bernie can win. Now, Bernie, it looks like he's in a virtual tie with Buttigieg. But when you think about what he started with, right, 70,000 people already ID'd, right, if you think about it from the pre-arch, 80,000 already in previous. And he couldn't get a majority. We know how popular Clinton's become in the party. And he couldn't basically dominate the 2016 caucus electorate. I have to say, I just think that Sanders has a lower ceiling, and I don't expect him to break 30 in New Hampshire despite that poll. I don't know if he does. And if he doesn't, and he could still win New Hampshire, but I think he's going to win it with a lower number because it is proving that I think he's got a harder ceiling. It's the moderate wing in the party, whatever you want to call it, moderate, pragmatist, centrist, everybody's got a different name for it. The non-socialist wing, how about that, is bigger than the progressive socialist wing of the party.
That's a great way to put the non-socialist wing.
Yeah, okay, it is bigger. And the question is, how can it coalesce soon enough? Now, I'm old enough to remember what happened 4 years ago. The non-Trump wing at one point was bigger than the Trump wing. Yep. But it never coalesced. And by the time it coalesced, Trump had grown beyond his own wing, and he had grown to at least the majority of the party. That's what Sanders would have to do. What I'm sitting here saying right now is I'm more skeptical today that he could do it. I was not a skeptic a week ago. I thought that's where we were potentially one of the more likelier scenarios. I'm bullish on Sanders' chances right now.
The Trump 4 years ago knocked down the pins more quickly. And the one pin that Bernie's not going to be able to knock down is Mike Bloomberg. I also have to give you, I think this is why there's a ceiling, Chuck. This is a stunning statistic. Gallup released this yesterday. 59% of Americans say they are better off financially than they were a year ago. That's the highest level in the history of Gallup polling. 59% say they're better off than they were a year ago.
And here's this. This is why the Democrats can't go with Bernie. If Bernie's the nominee, it allows the economy to become an issue. The economy hasn't been an issue in presidential politics, I would argue, now in at least 4 elections. We sit here and talk about how important it is, and yet we know the economy hasn't been the bigger voting issue. It's sort of a larger cultural issue, right? We know that when you start to look backwards, at the time we thought certain economic issues played, but I think when you start to look backwards, you realize the economy doesn't play as nearly the same role as it did when we were younger, Hugh. And so, but if Bernie's the Democratic nominee, I think the economy does become a front and center issue, and I don't think the Democrats can win a good economic argument right now. Yes, they've got the inequality issue and healthcare and things like that, but I don't think they can win a basic "Are you better off now than you were before?" They need a nominee that frankly has a different conversation with Trump.
No.
And I think Bernie almost forces an economic message because of his views of how to reshape the economy. Warren probably to a lesser degree, although I don't think Warren's going anywhere. And you finished third in a neighboring state. And I don't know how you keep going.
I don't know where the money comes from. I think you were right. Biden's money's going to be gone by South Carolina as well.
He doesn't have it.
Yeah.
It already is gone. I mean, he spent it all in Iowa.
So
he's not even been able to add 6 figures of ad time into New Hampshire, Hugh.
Yeah. When I sat around the table on Meet the Press many months ago, I said Pete Buttigieg is the candidate of generational change. I worry about that because Democrats win with Kennedy and with Obama and with Clinton. But there's a plausibility threshold that those three had that he doesn't have. How does he get over it? The monkey's threshold.
I don't know, and I'm with you, and I don't know what it is. It's in some ways, I feel sorry for Pete because I know exactly what you mean, and yet I can't tell him what that is, right? It's one of these things. We'll know it when we see it, but we can't fully put our arms around like what it takes. I don't know if it's simply he's lost weight and looks thinner and younger. I've noticed he lost weight over the last year.
Yeah, you know what I think it was.
To do that, and maybe his, whatever it is, I agree. The youthfulness. It's almost too useful at times. I get that.
And I told Liz Smith, I carry on a conversation with Liz via direct message. He's got to come back on the show. He started out coming on the show, started out coming on Fox. He started out being the guy.
By the way, why is Pete doing well? He is the one guy that does more television than anybody and will do you and will do Fox and will be like of all the candidates, he's the most widest array of media that he does.
He did, but he only did it once, and then he stopped. He stopped playing.
He'll come back to it.
I think he should because the way you break through is you persuade everybody, every grandparent out there that you are the perfect grandchild.
Well, you know how it works. But you know how it works even on your side of the aisle. Those first 4 states are heavy on the activist play. The minute Super Tuesday, everything opens up and everything's spread out, and I have a feeling come March, your phone will be ringing again.
Now, talk to me a little bit about Super Tuesday because Bloomberg's money's so astonishing. I can't drive. I'm in California for a week at the Nixon Library. I can't drive without Bloomberg ads.
Well, we're going to find out. I mean, it's funny. I think Bloomberg caught a little bit of a break in Iowa, but he needed something else that he didn't get. I think he needed a big Sanders win. He needed a clear Sanders victory in Iowa, which would have given Sanders a clear victory in New Hampshire, and then the coalescing of the non-socialist wing of the party could get around Bloomberg. The problem Bloomberg has now is if Pete finishes first or second in New Hampshire, and I think he's on a pathway to finish second, and if he finishes first, watch out. And suddenly he does the same thing in Nevada. Well, then Bloomberg, is he going to be spoiler? Is he the guy that takes a 3-way race and lets Bernie win because he's the lone progressive, win a bunch of, end up doing a little bit better everywhere because he's splitting vote with Pete? Is that what happened? So I think Super Tuesday is a real, where is Pete? If Pete is the guy coming out, right, and suddenly is the pragmatic, moderate, non-socialist alternative, Bloomberg, it's complicated because if he could end up actually reanimating and helping Sanders.
To play for 1 second the vice presidential game. If Pete Buttigieg pulls this off, who's his vice president? Is he looking for Lloyd Benson circa 2020 right now?
It's interesting. I think it's a woman. I think it's a senior woman. I would say, maybe. I still think he has to pick a person of color, but I think Abrams suddenly is not the good idea for him. He needs somebody with Washington in hand. I don't know. Maybe it's Kamala. Kamala Harris.
It could very well be
generational. She could make a lot of sense on some level. I think it's not. Cory Booker could make sense for him on another level, senator. I do think you're right. He needs somebody with probably some Washington title.
It's a difficult. You can go down to the cabinet level in Team Obama. You can start looking around in Team Obama for people like that. Chuck Todd, we will be watching Sunday. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press, and this will be quite the Sunday from New Hampshire. Don't miss it.